Hello, and welcome to Hofstra Law School's Video Viewpoints series. I'm Kristen McMahon. With me today is Eric Lane, Professor of Law and co-author of the book Genius of America with Michael Oreskes. Today, President Obama gave a very interesting speech at the United Nations. Can you please tell us what your reaction is?
Well, the President gave this actually wonderful speech about the virtues of democracy and its expansion throughout the world and how democracy allows people to realize their autonomy and to benefit, and how America will lead this expansion. But it struck me as strange, because democracy is something you have to learn a lot about and you have to be taught it. And the President has just, in all of their educational work, with No Child Left Behind first, the carryover, and then Race to the Top, has effectively, through the way they've targeted their resources, basically made it almost impossible to teach social studies in the schools. So in one sense, he's talking about expanding democracy, but in his actual application of money in this country, he's reducing the possibilities for many Americans to really have any opportunity to get a chance to learn, what government is about. And the evidence is clear. Over the last 20 years, the amount people know less and less. Poll after poll demonstrates that. Most people don't know what separation of power means. Most people basically have no idea what the presidential powers are. Most people have no idea what the foundations of the Constitution are. 52% of Americans think that the right to own pets is in the Constitution. So I was struck by the irony of the speech. I was actually pretty annoyed, more than struck, because here's this wonderful speech, the usual American notion about freedom. Here's a man that clearly believes in it and expanding it and how well it works for you. And here's, at the same time, a country which has policies now which are reducing already the very small resources available to schools to teach these things. And democracy, learning about democracy is not genetic, right? You don't inherit democracy, knowledge about democracy. This is a point that Justice O'Connor's been making as she's spoken around the country. You have to teach it. And so you have to teach people about it and how to, and it's incredibly important, because how else do you evaluate Mr. Obama, or how else do you evaluate other candidates, or how the system is working? And yet at the same time, we understand that, and most Americans understand that. We've driven from our school systems the resources for actually undertaking it. So this to me was striking in his speech today, that I think he should have been talking more about how we assure democracy and appreciation for democracy in this country before he was talking about how we should assure it everywhere else.
And how could we do that? Is it just a matter of putting more resources into the schools so students learn about it?
Well, it took 20 years of very intensive labor for the business community, and I'm not faulting them, this is very good on their part, to win this battle to get all this money for testing and math and science. And as a product of that, we have, as I said, drained resources for civic literacy from the school system. But we've been draining that for years. We've stopped teaching about it. When I was in school, it was something you would learn about, and nowadays people don't learn about it, and there are no other places to learn about it, and that's been clear from the polling progressively decline. It's clear from the decline in participation of people in politics. It's clear from people's attitudes. So, for example, all these people that love Obama, and I myself worked for him, I went to Pennsylvania, who now are disappointed because they didn't get everything they want. Now they're going to abandon the system, which shows me that they're ignorant about the system, because the system never allows you to get everything you want. And it's the goal of the system. The entire framing of the Constitution was the intent that nobody ever gets what they want entirely. It's always half a share. So I think that the effort has to be a really severe lobbying effort to try to get schools to pay attention. And public schools are meant for this. The reason that the original reasons, or among the original reasons for public schools, are to teach kids about being American and about its government. Because the country, as you know, is fragile. It's not held together. It's not because we all believe in the land like the French or some particular religion, or, you know, there's no sort of mystical power of the country that holds us together in America. It's these ideas that we learn about the Constitution. So to the extent that we stop teaching about them, the country itself starts to fall apart. And I think if you witness what's going on right now in the country, you can see why. You know, President Obama is going to be suffer as a result of this lack of civic literacy, because all these people that had expected him to do miracles don't understand that the system, that you have to make compromises, you have to deal with Democrats and Republicans, and you have to try to. And so it's funny in a sense, because his perceived failures are a product of this lack of civic literacy, which he's further pushing the possibilities for him out of the schools by programs that don't pay attention to it.
Thank you, Professor Lane. For more information about Hofstra Law School, visit law.hofstra.edu.